right phonetically. There you go. Okay, joining us right now is former Special Assistant to President George W. Bush, who advised numerous candidates on debate prep, Scott Jennings. Scott, welcome.
Good morning.
So why should we care about Pence and Kaine?
Well, it's an interesting moment because they're going to drive news cycles for the rest of the week, and it's a close race. So a couple of news cycles lost, and it could hurt your campaign. I don't think either candidate can say something at the debate that will win the election, but they could certainly say something that could hurt you for several days, and in a close race, it could matter.
Absolutely. Especially, I think the most impactful person on the race, it was supposed to be for the positive, ended up being maybe for the negative, was Sarah Palin. For example, this with Katie Couric.
What newspapers and magazines did you regularly read before you were tapped for this to stay informed and to understand the world?
I've read most of them, again, with a great appreciation for the press, for the media.
But like what one specifically, I'm curious that you...
all of them, any of them that have been in front of me over all these years.
That hurt McCain?
You know, I think ultimately Sarah Palin in her debate, that wasn't a debate moment, she actually cleared the bar. I think the bar was pretty low for her in her debate, and they had her prepped up. So that moment was not a great moment for that campaign. But when she actually got behind the podium after some prep time, she was pretty good. So it wasn't a bad night on the VP
And did you
debate.
notice, too, how Joe Biden treated her as opposed to Paul Ryan? He knew he was dealing with a woman.
Correct.
And I think that he was gender specific. He was kind of pulled back a little bit.
Yeah, she came out of that debate, I think, looking fine. And old McCain's strategist will tell you, before she joined the ticket, they were here, and after she joined, they popped up in the polls. So I still think they may think Sarah Palin was a net positive.
Interesting. Vice President Joe Biden hops on after one day after announcing, I'm going to run for president, called Barack Obama this.
I mean, you got the first sort of mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean and a nice-looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook, man.
He's walking that back immediately.
Yeah, he was. Joe Biden, for whatever reason, has become a politician in American life that can say sort of things that are over the line for other Pauls. And he gets away with it. He's Uncle Joe. And we just sort of slough it off. He's one of those rare guys that can get away.
Right, because he's not running for president. If he was running for president, it would be all, they'd be aiming a bazooka at him, so to speak.
That's right.
Scott, let's talk about Pence and Kaine in particular. Pence is going to be asked a lot about Donald Trump's positions, which are different from his political background. How has he handled it so far, and what do you expect will happen Tuesday?
Well, we'll see how hard Tim Kaine presses it. We've got a lot of news on Donald Trump. The taxes, the spat with Miss Universe. And so how hard will he press? And will Pence then retort by pressing harder on emails and Benghazi and things that didn't come up as much in the first presidential debate?
Which I thought was interesting is Pence has never backed off and said, well, I don't agree with Donald Trump here, ever. But yet Tim Kaine, when it came out to the 50% of Trump's audience was deplorable, he kind of said, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, that's right. They've sometimes not been exactly in league with the top of their ticket. Most of the time, the VPs try to stay in line with the top of their ticket. These two guys strike me that they may be willing to veer off a little bit if they think it enhances their own credibility at that night.
It's interesting, too, is that Pence has been incredible at fixing things. Do you think he can fix things when it comes to taxes, when it comes to Trump's ill-advised remarks about pneumonia staggering in Pennsylvania and talking about Bill Clinton's affairs? I
don't think he can fix things. He can't cure things that are wrong with a campaign, but he can certainly make them worse with a gaffe or coming in unprepared for it. But I think given what's been in the news cycles the last several days, he's got to be ready to not mess it up even further than we may already be.
Interesting. Scott Jennings, thanks so much. Most interesting election cycle ever, and everyone will be watching on Tuesday, too.
No doubt. Yeah.